Hello students. In the last class we studied about a classification of colloids. I told you there are three bases for the classification. First one based on the physical states of the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. We studied 8 types of colloids. The second one based on the nature of interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. We heard about the lyophilic and lyophobic colloids and we discussed about the differences there. And today let me continue the third basis for the classification. Do you remember what is the third basis? I told you it is based on the types of the particles of the dispersed phase. I used a short form, dispersed phase. Okay. Now, there are 3 types of colloids based on the types of particles of the dispersed phase. The first one is multimolecular colloids. Second one macromolecular colloids. And third one is associated colloids, are also called micelles. Okay. Now, the name itself indicates what you mean by multimolecular colloids. Okay, multi means many. Now, suppose if the small particles are becoming a larger particle, how it appears like a colloidal size? Because the very small particles, you study later on in the preparation of colloids, metallic salts like a gold salt or sulfur salt like that. So, very small particles will be present together, many molecules will be present together, will have a size of the colloidal range, and that is called multimolecular colloids. Okay, so here definitions will not come, but you must know at least one example for a multimolecular colloid, that is a sulfur salt. Okay, second one is a macromolecular colloids. Here the small particles are not coming together, it is a larger particles only, particles with the colloidal size. There are many natural examples like a starch, a cellulose and all. Even the synthetically prepared like a polythene, nylon, that also becomes example for macromolecular colloids. The third one is associated colloids. The name itself says some particles getting associated and that makes the colloidal sized particle. And the best example is a micelle formation in the cleansing action of soap. Okay, so associated colloids are also called micelles. Here the one more questions are possible generally. What is Kraft temperature and what is critical micelle concentration? Okay, now I just now told you what is micelle. It is a type of a colloid, we call it as associated colloid. Whenever soap molecules, we usually say sodium stearate or other fatty acids, it dissociates to form ions and that will accumulate around the particle. So cleansing action of soap I'll discuss later, but try to understand, suppose there is a grease content, on the surface of that the particles of the soap will be accumulating, and if the particles of the soap molecules are associating with the hydrophilic and hydrophobic end, and now it becomes a associated colloid. Okay, so now finally it will form a micelle in which these particles which are accumulated, that will become an associated colloid. Okay, so along with this I told you about the micelle formation. I told you about the cleansing action of soap. You can understand if there is some oil or grease content, the sodium stearate or any other soap ions will first dissociate, that will accumulate and it forms a aggregated or associated colloid. So that is called as a micelle. Okay, now try to understand what is Kraft temperature. Okay, Kraft temperature is a simple one. It is a temperature at which or above which the micelle formation is taking place. Okay, so it is a range of temperature at which the micelle formation taking place, that is called as a Kraft temperature. And similarly there is one more term you have to remember, CMC, that is a critical micelle concentration, that is the concentration above which the micelle formation is possible. Okay, what is the CMC or what is critical micelle concentration? It is a concentration above which the micelle formation is possible. Okay, so this is about the third type of classification or third basis for the classification, where we study about multimolecular colloids, macromolecular colloids and associated colloids. Along with this you remember the 2 simple terms, Kraft temperature and critical micelle concentration. Okay, so related to this associated colloids, I will tell you something about the micelle formation also. Okay, now consider, don't count the number of carbon atoms in this line representation. Generally sodium stearate is chemically soap. Okay, we can say the total number of carbon atoms in the stearic acid is 17, and the general formula for that will be, usually we say CnH2n plus 1, then COOH will come for a fatty acid. The hydrogen is replaced by sodium, becomes a soap. Okay, so if you say stearic acid, the formula will be C17H35COO Na. And when you add water to this, it will split into C17H35, that will remain same, COO minus and Na plus. Okay, when it is added to water, there is a dissociation of the soap molecule leading to the formation of two ions. And now this stearate ion will be involved in the micelle formation, not the sodium ion. Okay, so you can understand with this structure, the stearate ion, the long fatty acid chain, which is having a COO minus group. This is what I am showing here. Okay, this COO minus is there, and being a organic material, it is always having a tendency towards the water molecule, so it is hydrophilic head, and the other alkyl group, whatever the carbon chain is there, that is having a hydrophobic tail. Okay, just now I told you, whenever there is a grease content, along with this you try to understand about the cleansing action also. If there is a grease, you put a water and the soap on that. Now what happens? The stearate ion which is dissociated, that stearate ion will accumulate around the organic matter. When it accumulates around that, you can expect a phenomena like this. Okay, it will aggregate and finally it gets detached from the surface of the cloth, and this is actually a micelle formed. Okay, students, you are understanding? I told you mechanism of micelle formation and the cleansing action of soap together. Are you clear? So now the two ends of the stearate ion, or in the soap ion which is produced, hydrophilic and hydrophobic is there. Only thing you have to understand, which will accumulate on the surface of the grease and which is present at the free end. Okay, from this diagram what you can understand, that hydrophilic head is present on the surface and hydrophobic tail is getting attached to that. Okay, in this micelle what you understood, hydrophobic tail is getting attached to the grease content because that organic matter will have an affinity, whereas hydrophilic head, that is on the surface, which is getting adsorbed, and then when you pour water it is getting separated, it is getting washed away. Okay, that's all about the mechanism of micelle formation and cleansing action of soap. Now we'll continue the preparation of colloids. We already understood about the classification of colloids earlier. Now in your syllabus the three methods of preparations are mentioned. The first one is a chemical methods, second one is a peptidization, and the third one is a Bredig-Sark method or a electrical disintegration method. Okay, all these are important. Any of these methods can be asked for 2 marks in the exam. Now to begin with the chemical method, as the name itself indicates, we can prepare the salts by chemical reactions. Students, you remember, even though we studied 8 types of colloids, in this chapter we mainly focus on the preparation and properties of salts. Okay, what do you mean by a salt? Salt is a type of colloid in which solid is dispersed in a liquid medium. Okay, the dispersed phase is a solid and dispersion medium is a liquid. Now when I say chemical methods of preparation of colloids, there are so many reactions possible, and major are double decomposition, oxidation, reduction and hydrolysis. I will not be explaining each method, but when you look at these equations you will understand what do you mean by double decomposition. Look at the first equation. Arsenic oxide reacts with hydrogen sulfide to give arsenic sulfide and water. Actually this arsenic oxide first splits into arsenic and oxygen, and after this decomposition they will recombine, so it will form arsenic sulfide and water. This arsenic sulfide is a salt. Okay, second one is oxidation. Look at this equation. Sulfur dioxide reacts with hydrogen sulfide, it will form sulfur, and sulfur is a salt, byproduct is water. Third one, the allo chloride reacts with the formaldehyde and water. Reaction taking place is a reduction, and here we get a gold salt. Okay, the byproducts are formed. And ferric chloride reacts with water, it is a hydrolysis. The ferric hydroxide, the first product formed is a salt. As I mentioned before, all these methods are preparations of salts, that is a one type of colloid. Okay, so if any one of this is asked, you have to remember the reactions for double decomposition, oxidation, reduction and hydrolysis. Okay, write and practice the equation so that you can remember the balanced chemical equations there. Okay, so this is simple. The first method of preparation of salts by chemical methods. Now coming to the second method, peptization. Now there is one more term you study in this chapter, that is a precipitation. Remember, precipitation and peptization are different. Okay, so how they are different, where it comes I'll tell you. Peptization is one of the methods of preparation of colloids, whereas precipitation is a chemical property of a colloids. Okay, now the question comes, what is peptization? Now suppose if I take a ferric hydroxide precipitate, understand the precipitate is having a larger sized particle. If I add an electrolyte like FeCl3, now this electrolyte what I am adding, it can be called as a peptizing agent. Now it will split the larger particles into smaller particles. It is converting into ferric hydroxide colloid or a sol. Okay, so chemically it is same, ferric hydroxide only, but it is changing from precipitate form to colloidal form by the addition of an electrolyte. And one more thing you have to understand here, students, the electrolyte we are adding, it contains a common ion. Okay, ferric ion was a common ion there, so the charge on the colloidal particle also depends on the particles or ions which are accumulating. Okay, so remember what is peptization? It is a process of converting a precipitate into a colloid by the addition of an electrolyte. Generally the electrolyte added contains a common ion. Okay, there comes a phenomena called as a preferential adsorption. Like when I add FeCl3, it splits into Fe3 plus and Cl minus. Among these two ions, the ferric ion accumulates. You have to understand, the larger precipitate sized particle now splitting into smaller particle during the peptization, and precipitate is actually a neutral and the colloid must have a single charge. Among these two ions, suppose if ferric ion accumulates around these colloidal particles, now this colloid acts as a positively charged colloid. So that's what I told you, preferential adsorption. One of the ions accumulates around the particles, hence ferric hydroxide colloid becomes positively charged. Okay, so that is the second method of preparation of colloids, peptization. Remember the definition and one example. Okay, and the electrolyte added in this process of peptization is called as a peptizing agent. Okay, so Bredig-Zark method of preparation of colloids or electrical disintegration method I will take up in the next class, but first understand these two methods of preparation, chemical method and peptization. Okay, are you clear? So next method I will take up in the next class. Thank you.